So about a week later, we had a good rain. And what I'm going to do, when we talk about dredging the Rivanna Reservoir, most people think of the clay probably, or the sand and the gravel that's going to come out. But what they don't realize is there is at least 3 feet of muck under this dock, up along that shore, right behind me. This reservoir is choked with that muck, and I'm going to do a little calculation because there's gold in this reservoir. It's not the shiny kind, it's not black gold or petroleum. It's the muck. This stuff that has been coming down and choking this reservoir and feeds the hydrilla, when it is dried out, or dewatered as the experts like to say, you get the finest soil enricher. Some people could use it as topsoil that you can imagine. Farmers in our area know this already. When they clean out one of their watering ponds, they will clean this out and till it into their fields. Sometimes they will actually stockpile it and sell it. And you might ask, how much is it worth? Well, that's one bag I bought at Lowe's 2 or 3 days ago. That's about a cubic foot of material. Usually they sell bagged stuff like that by the cubic foot. This bag costs $8.82 retail before tax. So just as an exercise to get an idea of the value of the muck in this reservoir, I'm going to do a volume computation. And volume is length times width times depth. So if you figure it's a little over a mile, if you can see far in the distance, there's a little, the terrain on the right side sort of juts out. And it goes a ways. But we're figuring about a mile beyond that little outcropping down there. And you saw how much muck was here in the earlier part of this video. So we're going to use some very simple numbers. 1 mile, 5,280 feet. From the shoreline to the end of this dock is 37 feet. And out to where that hydrilla is, right there, is probably another 37, maybe more, but we'll call it 37. 37 twice, 74. And as you saw, the muck is over 3 feet. It's 38 inches. We'll call it 36. So for a volume, 5,280 feet times 74 feet, that's the width, times 3 feet, the depth. That gives you a volume of 1,172,160 cubic feet. We'll call the value, the retail value, $8 per cubic foot. So 1,172,160 times 8 gives you $9,377,280. That's one part of the river shore. Of course, there are 2 shores. It's over 5 miles long on the reservoir, and that's not including the little creeks and inlets that are choked just as badly as the shoreline is. If somebody were to take that and fill a ravine or fill a hole in the ground on their farm, or think about using it as fill, I'd put them into timeout, because that is not an appropriate use for that. This is a commercial commodity. There is a business out here waiting to happen. There are jobs waiting to be created. Just as an estimate, if we did the dredging and the reclamation of this topsoil, I would imagine we could create at least 30 jobs. Truckers, operators, secretaries, administrators, I mean the whole route. So that's something I don't believe anybody has talked about, and that is probably the most valuable commodity that can come out of this reservoir. And as I've said over and over, it has to be done anyway. Now, in a manner of speaking, you can just say that what I'm saying is dredge here, dredge now. So, since our local governments are so enamored of consultant studies with a lot of zeros in them, I'm going to present local governments with my invoice. And you can read what it says. Somebody should have thought of this before. We paid a lot of money. We have paid a lot of money for some expert opinion, and nobody's thought of it before. So there's the total due, and they can figure out how to split that however they want to. So this is for the community education. We have an election coming up. There are politicians and special interests who do not want to consider this. And they want to go straight to the dam. So the citizens of our community, and I'm concerned about the city more than anything else, can have a say in this. They can send a strong message to the politicians on November 3rd. And they can say they want their voice to be heard. They want common sense to be practiced out here. It's been neglected. Dredging is a basic operation of mechanical equipment, and it should be done. It should be started immediately.